Hey there. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Blind Buys. Recently, I did a poll trying to figure out how to solve the question of how to address the number of suggestions I have coming in. There's a bunch of suggestions that came in that were all for the same thing. And although I would like to do all the suggestions in the order that they come in, it's hard to balance the idea of, well, this person was first, but 20 people also asked for that. Not that 20 people have asked for any fragrance so far. I'm hyperbolizing just to kind of clarify. So what I did was I put up a poll and I put up the 3 most requested fragrances. Blue Electrique by YSL won out by quite a bit. Rasasi Hawas came next. And then Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male Les Parfums came in at third. All 3 got quite a few votes, and therefore I'm going to do all 3 of them as the next 3 viewer suggested. I'm going to do them in order. Blue Electrique's already done, so now we have Hawas. And then Le Male Les Parfums will come right after. Although I may do a personal pick in between. But without any further ado, and I really got to stop saying that, we're just going to go right ahead and crack into this. So there's no turning back now, guys. We're kind of in it for the long haul. Hopefully that intro was good enough. Get under that tab there. Get this over. Now, I don't believe this is a super expensive fragrance. You can check out all the details on the other side of the waterfall. Every review ends up having a first impression side and a more detailed review on the other side of the waterfall. That includes perfumer, batch number, what I paid for, where I got it from, projection, longevity, and any sort of thoughts that I had while wearing it for however many days I wear any fragrance for. So, I think we might end up having to come out the top of this box. Sometimes you run into a stubborn one. I like to come out the bottom because it's a lot quicker. There we go. What kind of dress do we got onto it? This is what we get out the front. Flip it around. Got the kind of 3/4 jaunt going on. And I feel like that was backwards, but we'll give it to him. There it is. We'll not Bleecker Street this guy. So I believe there was reformulations of this actually, and it appears that I have no idea which one I have. I think I have the newer, lighter purple, and then the other one was the darker purple. Very nice presentation overall, I gotta say. I would assume this is a Hawas specific bottle. Definitely a Hawas specific cap. That looks chunky. Oh, wow, it's frigid heavy. Where's the atomizer? To the side. Need to rectify that. And before we spray this on, let's do some accords, I suppose. We've got fruity, citrus, aquatic, amber, fresh, warm, spicy, animalic, musky, sweet, and woody. And we'll give her the old 1, 2, third should do. Third shot's hot. Fourth for the fully. Wow. That's a big fourth. And that smelled immediately like Aqua de Jo Absolute, which smells like Paco Rabanne Invictus. And already, I would say that if I still worked with the guy who wore Invictus, I would probably be stepping on his toes maybe a little bit. I've never smelled anything actually from the Invictus line except when my coworker wore it. I do own a few of them. Wow, this pushes. This pushes off the skin. There is no need for test strips right now. Oh my Lanta. So this stuff is notorious. It's getting a lot of hype and a lot of talk on all the videos, on the boards, things like that. People want Hawas, and it sells out quite fast. Now, quick sniff there. I got that bubblegum that people talk about. And on deeper sniff, that right behind it, the deeper sniff behind it, completely erased it. But there is that bubble gum sweet, and it's I can smell it just off my arm, just blasting into the air. I don't think anybody ever will need more than one bottle of this. This is like, oh my Lancer. Oh my Lanter, you guys. Kind of strong. Wow. Oof. I'm sorry. Let's get some notes. On the top, our Fragrantica Cop Out gives us apple, bergamot, cinnamon, and lemon on the top. Watery notes, plum, cardamom, and orange blossom in the middle. And then in the base, we've got ambergris, musk, driftwood, and patchouli. So really, apart from the top notes, we're deviating pretty fairly in terms of notes across the board, which is kind of nice to see. Whether or not it's true or it's all made up, I guess that stands to, it's argumentative. But it's nice to see something a little different along the lines, at least for once. Let's see if we have any sort of ingredients. Alpha isomethylamine. Butyl methoxydibenzyl methane. So that's the sunscreen because it's a clear bottle. Ethyl hexyl salicylate. That's a fun one to say. Ethyl hexyl methoxycinnamate, along with cinnamol to make that cinnamon top note, I would assume. But really, I mean, just honestly kind of nice, I would say. It does have a small mall scent leaning. That's the, alpha iso. Or I attribute it to that. I could be way wrong. Eventually I'll get humbled on that one. But honestly, if you can jive with a sweeter scent, I think this is going to be a real crowd pleaser. I can kind of see why. Aqua de Jo, Absolute, people like that, people like Invictus. There's a reason for its success and its continued production. There's a reason Hawas sells out constantly. I'm going to wear this probably for 4 or 5, maybe even 6 days because I kind of like it. And I'd like to see what the hype's all about because so far I'd say it's meeting expectations, meeting, possibly exceeding. But in order to find out whether or not it exceeds expectations, you're going to have to stick with me. Check out On the Other Side of the Waterfall, and we'll see what happens. So thanks for sticking with me, guys. Okay, folks, I've been wearing Rasasi's Hawas for what feels like 8 days, but it's actually been about 7. I opened this at, I think it was midnight, maybe 1 a.m. Saturday morning, and it's about a week later now. So I think we can wrap up our thoughts. This really was not a hard thing to wear for 7 days. Actually, I really enjoyed it. So 7 days went pretty quick. Fun fact, this came out in 2015. So actually this has been out for a lot longer than I thought it has. It's already 8 years old. and it's still maintaining a pretty decent price. There was no perfumer that I could find on this, so if you know who it is, please leave their name down in the comments. I would love to give them credit or, whatever. In terms of batch code, you might be able to read it on the bottom there, but it's R3030147, and it was made in February of 2023, according to the box. This isn't on Check Fresh, I don't believe, and I guess it doesn't need to be because they give it to you on the box. That's really nice of them. I got this off of FragranceBuy.ca for $59.95. They put 3.38 ounces on the bottle, so that works out to $17.73 an ounce. Pretty dang cheap. Really not too bad. The price has not creeped up. Like I said, in 8 years, pretty good value in terms of things, I really have to say. The projection, I find, is like a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10 even, but I put 7 down. It's very strong early on, and you even get wafts of it 7 or 8 hours into it. I applied this morning, and I was getting wafts at about 4 o'clock before I took a shower after having a row. So not too bad. Like longevity, 10 to 12 hours if you don't take that evening shower, which not always necessary. And on paper, it lasts days. On test strips, I've got 4-day-old test strips that still banging. Pretty crazy. In terms of scent profile, you kind of got to know what you're getting into with this. I think that mostly it's going to be for a younger audience. This is really heavy on coumarin. It's, I think, the 5th ingredient. It's one of the first ones. It's Parfum Aqua Limonene Coumarin, after alcohol is the number 1. So it's the 5th ingredient. And then only 4 ingredients afterwards, alpha isomethylionine, the 2 big mall notes, the 2 big mall fragrance chemicals. Coumarin, and I don't know what they attribute to the alpha isomethyl, but it's that powdery, fresh scent that's basically in so many designer fragrances. But Hawas actually differs in the long run, especially if you put them on test strips and give them, 6 to 8 hours. It really does make a difference. You can smell the difference. The first battle I put it up against was Acqua di Gio Absolu. That was one of the first ones that came to mind, since I don't have Invictus Aqua or Invictus Regular. So I put it up against Acqua di Gio Absolu first, and really after about 6 hours, you can mix them up as long as you want, and there is no comparison. You can absolutely smell the difference. Hawas it smells a bit more watery. The Absolu smells oceanic. It's deeper. It's a bit older, actually, and you wouldn't really expect Absolu to be a more mature scent. But Hawas is somewhere along the lines for a, 17, 18-year-old. I mean, if I had a young middle teenager that was kind of stinky, 15, 16, I'd say bang it onto them. It's cheap. It's not going to cost you a lot, and it might improve your own life. The next battle I put it up against, the next scent that came to mind was Chanel's Allure Homme Sport. And again, similar in the aspects that it is coumarin and alpha isomethyl heavy, but in the long run, they definitely deviate. The Hawas stays fruity, it stays sweet. The Allure Homme Sport goes woody. So 2 totally different paths. No matter how much you mix them up, You're never going to get them confused, but you're never going to get confused based on this smells cheap. It doesn't smell cheap. It smells actually very good. It's very well made. I really got to give it up to Rasasi, a brand that I otherwise would not buy anything else from. And the hype really drove the sales on this. And let's just say it lived up. I'm pretty stoked on Hawas. It may not be for my age bracket, but as you can see, I did use a fair bit of amount like in there. And that's not because it needed it. It, probably did not. Most of it's probably test strips and testing, but I did use it for 7 or 8 days, multiple showers, twice a day, things like that. So really, I gotta say, this is a darn good fragrance. I would, I guess, recommend this to people who know what they're getting themselves into. A somewhat sweet mall type fragrance that's going to fit a lot better for a younger man. So, like I said, somewhere around 17 or 18. And just overall, not a bad scent. So, like I said, I don't think we're going to be doing anything else from Rasasi going forward, but we've got a lot more on the shelves. If there's anything else that you would like to see me open, please leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you'd like me to open. And, that being said, guys, find something that's as unique as you are. Wear it unabashedly. Until next time I see you, talk to you, or anything else. Take it easy, guys. Thanks. Wow.